Hey friends, welcome back to Bible Fun with the Dunns. Today we read the short little chapter of chapter 15. Let's jump right in.
Okay, you go ahead.
So what we started with, we're picking up in the tribulation period. We have seen the seal judgments, we have seen the trumpet judgments, and now we see these 7 bowl judgments. And so there's like a little moment of pause before it's like the final judgment.
That's right. So if you were reading a book and you're starting out the book, prior to chapter number 1, there would be a preface. So in your mind, just know the preface is the setup for the book, in the way that chapter 15 is really the setup for the events that are going to happen after this, specifically in chapters 16 and 17. This is an odd passage. And so what you need to understand is that this is the setup for the end. If you ever wanted to know how the end of the world was going to look, this is how it is. As a matter of fact, it says, then I saw, verse number 1, then I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues, for in them the wrath of God was complete. Now, I want you to listen to the word 7. 7 is the kind of the symbolic sign of the end of a cycle, things being complete. 7 days to a week, 7 days of creation, you got all of that. So here, it's set up, even in symbolism, to tell you that at the end of verse 1, for in them the wrath of God is complete. And so whereas in previous chapters, he ticked off 7 seals, and then it was 7 trumpet blasts. Now it's going to be 7 bowls that are going to be poured out. Now, what I think is interesting is whenever you read verse number 2, notice the language. Because remember, the language is trying to get you to understand the concepts. And I saw something like a sea of glass. Now, when we say a sea of glass, what does that mean? Does that mean a literal ocean made out of glass like on a window? Or would we look at a still body of water and say it is smooth as glass? That's what's happening. So what does that mean? That this sea, although here mingled with fire. Now fire is our picture of judgment. So even with that, there is this peace. So the God who is going to pour out judgment is also the God that in his mind, he and his people, they are at peace. This is the wrath of God onto sin. Now notice what it says. And those who have victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass. And so where it looks like that sin and the enemy has set up an entire world empire to try to take over and to finally destroy God's people, the emphasis here is everything of God's is actually over that. Now it's on top of that, at peace. So, like Adrian Rogers would have said, this is one of those moments where we have to remember, in terms of the sea, everything that was meant to be over our head has really been put under his feet. That's what this is about. Then you get into this song. He calls it the Song of Moses and the Song of the Lamb. So remember when the Israel came out of Egypt. Moses sang a song when they came out of Egypt as the Egyptians were judged because the Red Sea covered them up in judgment and no one saw them again because they was dead. This is a moment where judgment is going to be finished. This is the last phasing of judgment where the sin of the world will be finally judged. The evil, the wicked systems of this world. And there's another song sung over this moment like Moses did there. You'll notice in verse 4, the things that motivate this song is the character and the works of God. So who shall not fear you, O Lord, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. Nations shall come and worship before you, for your judgments are made manifest. Then look in verse number 6. And out of the temple came 7 angels having 7 plagues, clothed with pure bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. So in Scripture, the temple is the place of God's presence. So this is a reminder that all of this judgment is coming from the presence of God. This isn't like the world crumbling down and like finally just kind of messing up. No. This is divine judgment. And then verse number 7 says, then one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 angels 7 bowls full of the wrath of God who lives forever. So wrath may be ending, but God lives forever. Judgment will one day finish, but God remains eternal. And all of this sets up these last 7 moments of the wrath of God that will forever judge the wickedness of this world. And that's chapter number 15. You good? I'm good. Orwell, you good? Rarely. All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye.